Hey guys, what's going on? My name is VK, you're watching Phenomenal Creations as you always do, and thanks for that. Hope you guys all doing fantastic, because this week we're gonna do some pretty exciting things. Today we're gonna play astronauts. We're gonna look at the Earth and then we're gonna zoom into your home address. So that's pretty cool. Let's go ahead and make some Earth zooms. Hey guys, and welcome to another exciting Adobe After Effects workflow. This Earth Zoom effect is consisting of 9 to 10 images I took from Google Earth. So what I did was zooming out from the stadium, constantly taking screenshots and making from different kind of focal lengths, as you can see on the screen, and these we're gonna develop to this cool Earth Zoom in action. If you want all these images, I have them linked down below if you don't want to capture your own footage. Now we're ready to begin the tutorial. So let's take all the images and drag them to the timeline, after you have created composition of course. And remember to keep them in order. So the first image, the closest up image, is at the top, and the furthest image away, which is the still image of the Earth itself, is at the bottom. Now we're ready to make some post-processing magic, so let's go. Alright, so now starts all the hard work and labor for the project. So take the first layer and drop the opacity down to 50% so we can see layer number 2 underneath it. Then select the scale properties, and now it's time to scale and align layer number 1 with layer number 2. So when you do that, and remember, now when you position your anchor point with the Y key, put it onto the building you want to scale from, so there will be no warping artifacts. And once you have aligned, it will look very cool. And then what you do is to select the first layer and parent it with the pick whip tool. As you can see right now, you can parent it to layer number 2. So when we're going to scale the next layer, it will move in the same proportions, giving this super high-res zoom. So the next thing to do is to repeat this process to every layer on the timeline. And please remember, be as accurate as possible. Put the anchor point to the building you want, estimate, so it looks so much better in the end. To start animating, we have to select the last layer, scale properties, hit the stopwatch, and then go somewhere around 5 or 6 seconds, or depending how long animation you desire. And then we're gonna drop down the scale to something like 8% or something in the style so we can see the whole globe. So if we now check a preview, it looks and starts looking pretty cool. It looks all great, but then comes this problem. Then it scales super fast in the end, and we don't want that. It doesn't look so appealing. So how to make it even? It's actually not so super hard. Let's just select both. To start animating, we have to select the last layer, scale properties, hit the stopwatch, and then go somewhere around 5 or 6 seconds, or depending how long animation you desire. And then we're gonna drop down the scale to something like 8% or something in the style so we can see the whole globe. So if we now check a preview, it looks and starts looking pretty cool. It looks all great, but then comes this problem. Then it scales super fast in the end, and we don't want that. It doesn't look so appealing. So how to make it even? It's actually not so super hard. Let's just select both of our keyframes like this. Hit the right click and then go to keyframe assistant and select exponential scale. And this is a cool trick because now when you check it out, it's an even scale throughout the whole clip. So the After Effects is calculating the speeds and the scale amounts, so it's even throughout the whole video. And that's very effective. It looks very cool. So the next thing to do is to make them blend into each other, because there can be some sharp edges. We don't want that. So let's go to the toolbar, to the ellipse tool, and double click on the first layer to create this elliptical mask. Then get some feathering, something to 200 pixels. So go to the intense mask properties and get some mask expansion action to -250 pixels. And then what we're going to do is to repeat that process to every layer. So it's just to make them blend in a bit more. And if you want, you can use also some color correction to match up lighting and color temperatures. I didn't need to in that several case, but you can do it, and you definitely should if you find the need to. And then when you are in the end and you can see this is going outside of my Earth, you can manipulate the mask pathing by just doing some simple mask path control here. So we have a more control layer, so it fits and it's working inside the Earth globe as we want to, and we don't need like anything extra if we don't have to use it. And you definitely should do this to every layer if they need to. You can restrict them and make it look the most appealing to your desire. As you probably saw, I had to turn off a layer because I didn't need it, so you don't actually have to use all your images. But now when we take a preview, we can see actually how the scale effect is working. And this is basically the effect right here. Now we're just gonna go ahead and make it look so much more better with different kind of tricks inside After Effects. So let's go. This is a very small tweak, but I can see the globe is not centered, so we have to go animate the positioning of the globe. So open up the scale properties so you can see where the scale stops, and create a position keyframe and then just move it to the beginning. So it's normal in the beginning, but then we just use the position values to make the globe in the middle, so it's more appealing and symmetric. So when we check out a preview, it begins normally, and when it zooms out correctly, so the globe is in the middle. So it's time to create some dynamics to the movement of our clip. So let's go ahead and create a null object, and well, let's call it rotation because I want to create some rotation action for this effect as a whole. And now we're going to take the bottom layer with all the animations on it and parent that to the rotation. So everything we do to the rotation will apply to the whole effect. And then change the value to something like minus 180, and then you can of course go set it so it looks more straight and aligned. And then we're just gonna add a very simple rotation animation. So let's just animate from minus 180 degrees to 0, so we can stop the rotation when the scale also stops. So it will look pretty cool when you take the preview. It will give this cool Hollywood flyover dynamics to the shot. And then of course you can go ahead and like offset the position where the keyframe starts. And I use the easy easing, so hitting F9 on your keyboard, so making the rotation start off and end very smoothly. So those are some little things that can really add up to the effect. Then it's time to create a new solid layer, and this is going to be our star background for our planet. So it's easy to do. So let's go ahead and find the fractal noise effect from the effects and presets panel. And there's a few things we're going to do. First off, let's go to the transform drop down menu and scale this down so it's more similar to like a noise thing, and then just bump up the contrast and bump down the brightness so we can see the starry thing happening over here. And then you can always tweak and customize it so it looks most appealing to your project. And once that is done, it's pretty much done right there. So let's just place it down below to our Earth and want to watch the animation and look, so we have a star background. But there's a few problems we need to solve. It's not rotating, so we have to put it to rotate because the camera's rotating. So just parent it to the rotation null object, and now it rotates with the Earth, and that's pretty cool. So one more step to our own book. But then we have another problem. The Earth image got black bar, so we can't see any stars, so we have to add a circular mask to it. And it's pretty simple. You just take a perfectly ellipsed mask and then just scale it down the mask so we can see all the stars behind it. So it was a very easy fix, but now it looks a lot better when we got some rotating stars and things going on. So we have just a couple more things to do, and that is to create some atmospherical effects, like creating some clouds. And we need to create some clouds, so what are we waiting on? Let's go ahead and create them. So we create a new solid and call it clouds. And what we do is again add the fractal noise effect. Let's change to dynamic to give that puffy cloud feel. Bump it up the contrast, take down the brightness and all. It looks cool, and put it to the screen mode so we can see it through it. Okay, so now it's a few things we have to go and do. We can bump up the contrast and brightness, and so it looks a bit brighter to our eyes, and we can always tweak this out so it looks the best for our own project. And the next thing to do is to scale it up and position it so it's ready to go. So let's go to the transform drop down menu and just scale it up this time, and then just place it around so we can find this appropriate hole for us to zoom through. So I think this is pretty cool, and what you do after that is to go to the scale properties and just make a very fast scale so it scales so much. You just like use the shift scale so it goes through the camera, go a few frames forward and just drop it down something like 10%. It's really up to you. So once again, it's very fast, the scale. So go to the exponential scale, trick again so it's more even and looks a bit better. So there's one thing to do after this. It's pretty harsh and I want to add some opacity things. So just a simple fade in and a simple fade out. So you take the opacity, hit T on your keyboard and give some keyframes from 0 to 100% and then back to 0. So just a very simple fade in and fade out. So it looks a bit appropriate for the situation. And then it got some pretty harsh ends, so we can go ahead and add a circular mask. So just double click on the ellipse tool and it creates some feathering and some minimal mask expansion just to make it a bit smoother in the ends. So once we look at it, it looks pretty okay. Now the next thing to do is to repeat this process a couple times. So what's a good way to make them different from each other? Use the evolution, drop down controls in the fractal noise effect to give them different kind of looks, and also duplicate them. Take one layer when you have got like several next to each other. That's also very cool. And then just position them as you want to give them your own personalized look. Alright guys, a couple more steps left. Let's go to the project panel, take our effect comp and make it a new composition again. And we have to go ahead and create a camera shake. So let's go to this expression controls and find a slider control. And then let's go to the position and I'll click on the position and type in the expression wiggle, open parentheses, 8 or 10 like a small value, comma, and then take the pick whip tool and select the slider number 1. And then don't forget the end parentheses to close everything up. So the small value 8 to 10 is the frequency and the slider up there gives the amount of pixels. So the wiggle is just creating this cool camera shake, like a digital camera shake. So now because we have it in a slider, we can actually try to animate it. So let's create some keyframes, start from 0, go up to something like 4, and then just using the slider control, giving the amount of shake you want for your footage. It really depends. I use 4 or 5 and then just small tweaks here and there, and it looks actually pretty cool. So after that, it's just a couple more things to do. As you can see, the final thing to do is to find the motion tile effect come in handy because we got some black bars because we're moving the comp due to the camera shake. So let's find motion tile as I just explained. It's a great way to stack your comp into many kind of copies and giving you some extra reach. So go to the output height and width and mirror the edges. Remember to mirror the edges to give this extra reach, so now you can see the black bars and no one will see in those fast zooms anything. And ladies and gentlemen, you have successfully created your an Earth zoom effect. Hope you guys liked it, and let's go to the outro. Thank you guys for learning. Thanks guys so much for watching this project till the end. You're such an amazing audience and thanks for sticking around. So if you did like this video project, give me a huge like just below this video. Don't also forget to conquer the comment section with the best possible comment ever. So that's a challenge. Make some awesome comments and try to get the highest like rating on that. So that's a challenge for you. The point is, give me a comments. I read all my comments, they're very important, so go ahead and write some cool stuff down there. Don't forget to subscribe to your channel if you haven't already, and then if you want to get your suggestions become episodes, go to a link in my description, fill out the form and make your suggestion become reality. So thanks for sticking around in this video. My name is Veikko and I'll see you guys in the next video to come next week. So have an awesome week.